Hey everyone, tomorrow morning we're going to start fresh in the morning and we're going to start spring road inspections. The snow's almost gone, it's mud season, and we already have a few issues occurring that I'm seeing on the roads tonight. Look at all this water here. This time of year, the log trucks are not running because they'll sink into the road. All this water right here is caused by beavers. It's too early in the year, the beavers are not active, but they clogged the culvert pipe, which is right here, back in the fall. And now that there's spring melt along with rain, it's causing havoc. And it's not just causing damage there. This flood is still going down the road, continuing. The flood is going back through the woods, same swamp. Coming down here, there's a second culvert pipe, which the beavers have completely plugged it up. Here's another flood crossing over the road, causing erosion. I'm sure we'll see a lot more of this tomorrow. This is the time of year you're gonna go through a roll of flagging tape almost every single day. So, let's see what we find out on the roads. We're going to certain areas where we'll be the first vehicle of the year inspecting these things, so we got to use a lot of caution. Inspect any bridge we pass over just to make sure. Good morning, everyone. We finally got it warm in here. The low temperature appears to be 23. It's now 9 in the morning. Sun came up about an hour ago. Use my winter sleeping bag. Nice. We got a backup actually. There's a log right in front of me. This time of year, logs are falling off the trucks. Don't follow too close. And be careful when they're passing you. Saw hundreds of logs last night that are falling off the trucks. Ooh. Boom, 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 boom. We don't have a flat tire, it is mud. Yep, no flat tire, but we got uneven mud that froze to the wheels last night. Froze. And it snowed last night. Look at that. Got an inch of snow. Today's not supposed to get above freezing at all. Oh, come on. Enough of that. Come on, shut off. Well, I guess it doesn't want to shut off, but that's because I have a big water bottle sitting next to me. Alright, the mud finally shook off. I'd much rather drive in this little bit of snow with frozen ground than the mud. But we do got frost heaves everywhere. And it is the very end of March 2025, so even though it's below freezing right now, the sun is strong enough to melt this, as you can see. The sun is very strong this time of year. It can snow up here through the month of May, but it usually isn't going to stick around for long. It can really only accumulate at night. Maybe we'll see log trucks. They were suspended last night, but now that the roads are starting to freeze up, it is possible. Maybe they'll wait another night. It'll be even colder tomorrow. Oh, look at this. Look around the corner. Look at all the logs that fell off the trucks. Yeah, there's nothing holding logs on these trucks. Sometimes they'll throw a little cable over the top to hold the ones on top, but the rest of them are all held by gravity. If it goes over bumps, it loosens up. Some of them are going to fall off. Yep, there's another one. It's kind of a game if you're out here. Tally them up. Make a prediction. How many are you going to find on your way through here? See who's closer. There's always logs spilled when there's frost heaves and potholes. Look at the amount of snow on my hood compared to the road. This area didn't get as much. But this guy up here passed me when I was sleeping. He just drives very slow because it's a grader. Off to go somewhere and fix the road. He'll probably let me pass in a moment. I was just up on that bridge and now I'm backing up because I gotta show you this. This is so cool. Look at all this river ice backed up into here. Look at that. That is so cool. This river must have flooded so bad. Oh, I wish I was here to see that. Imagine the current to force all this ice up into the edge of the woods. Ice like this is the major reason why there's always grass growing next to the rivers and not trees. Any tree that tries to grow there gets smashed out of the way every winter. So cool. All right, we're driving over the bridge as I have you out the window. We have good visibility. We can stop for a moment. That is still gushing so much. It's still flooding from earlier this week. And look at all the pieces of ice spinning around right there in like a little whirlpool. That's awesome. Love seeing this stuff. Okay, we're off the bridge and another log fell off the truck. Basically, you'll see logs on the side of the road every time there's a big pothole. Look at this gigantic crack in the middle of the road. Here it comes. That's a major frost heave lifting up the road, and there's a big crack right here filled with snow. Pretty cool. Temperature has actually gone down since we've been driving. It's now 21 degrees. Right here, we come to an area that has beaver problems. This culvert is all clear. But look what we got here. Look down this road. Look at all that water crossing the road right there being diverted to the open culvert. It's even eroding. Look at that. Well, we got to get out and investigate, and it looks like time for the big high boots. So we're actually going to drive down here through this water. I don't think it's too deep, this erosion. It's a very rocky road, so I doubt it's impassable. Yep, it's nice and solid. We're gonna go down here and turn around. We're actually gonna leave the truck right here, smack in the middle of the road, because no one uses this road, and we're only gonna be here for a little bit. I can also hear right now, we're plowing through a whole bunch of ice. This was worst flooded a few days ago, like when you saw that river right there. Whenever that flooded bad, this must have flooded even worse. Let's put it in four-wheel drive. There's still actual snowpack down here that the warmer weather didn't melt. Okay, it's open enough. Let's just turn around here before we end up getting stuck somewhere stupid. All right, so we just broke up some ice. That was actually really fun to drive through. The snow got deep out there fast. There's still a good snowpack where the sun doesn't hit. Everywhere else melted though. So we have a ton of water here. We're gonna have to get the big high boots on. I just wanna make sure it's something we can do. I think it is. We have done this one many, many times before, but we have never came out and did it in the colder weather like this. It's technically spring, but this far north, it can snow through the month of May. It's the end of March. We also need to identify if this is a primary beaver pond or not. Every other time I've done it, it's been deemed as secondary, but times can change. We gotta do a little due diligence as far as making sure beavers don't actually live here. Every time in the past we've unclogged it, we've put cameras up. Beavers have showed up sometimes the next night. Sometimes they've showed up a month later because they don't live here. They just show up randomly to their secondary water sources. So if we can get this going down, we're gonna have a lot of interesting ice cracking. And this is actually really cool what we're seeing today. So it froze over last night a little bit with some snow. But this is floodwaters on top of the actual ice from the hard winter. That's the hard winter ice down there. So, how are we gonna get down there without falling in? It might be flowing too hard. Is there actually even a beaver dam here, or is it just... It might actually be over capacity, and you might be asking, if this thing is only half full, why is it crossing over the road? Well, a lot of these culverts are installed where they can't hit capacity because they want it to flood somewhere else rather than it flooding the road. And they can't really put the pipe deeper because it'll mess with the natural riverbed. That's really cool, that disc down there. You know, just looking at it now, I don't even think there's a beaver dam in there, but I'm gonna have to get down on my hands and knees. We gotta look in there and confirm this one. Yeah, because we inspected this back in the fall, and it shouldn't have beaver issue already, and I don't want to fall in. That's pretty slippery. We got a big rock right here. So I'm just gonna hold the camera. I'm not gonna look in there. You guys are gonna look in there, and I'm gonna look back at the footage. I do know that this pipe has damage to the end of it there. Let me pause here and look at this footage. Well, here's the flooded road. That's a temporary road. No one really cares about that, so no harm done. But I have seen the beavers clog this one up down here too. And then it starts flooding because this is the only backup culvert in the area it could go to. But that's not beaver related. It's just the capacity issue, the way the pipe is installed. So everything that can't fit's being diverted down here, and it seems to be working out just fine. There's been times I've said that 0-degree temperatures don't bother me. Well, this is much warmer, and it's bothering me because it's so windy out. Okay, this pipe is just as big. And look, we have the brand new ice. This area didn't freeze because it's moving too fast. So this is taking its own river and the extra. We look down, there's the old ice from the hard winter, which is still super duper thick. I'm not gonna take my chance walking on that with boots, but oh, I hear cracking. There's no beaver dam. We are wide open. That is so cool to see the multiple layers of ice. I love the multiple layers of ice. This wind feels bitter. Or maybe I just got used to the warm weather we had this week. Felt like summer was coming for a couple of days. Guess we're gonna get back in the truck. There's literally nothing wrong here, so we're not gonna hang up ribbons or anything. I mentioned beavers clogged up this culvert, the first one, all that. Well, they had also clogged up the drainage ditch, as you could see, causing major issues. All right, everyone. It's really cold out there. Don't need the four-wheel drive anymore. Let's back up. I was a little disappointed. I thought we had the first blockage of 2025. But winter has different plans. Everything's gonna freeze up a ton again this week. The logging company's happy though. They can send heavy trucks this week once these roads really start hardening up again. But we're back to inspections where we usually will go through a whole roll of marking tape a day. But I don't think it's time yet. Last spring, all the snow melted in like 2 days with heavy rain. There was issues everywhere. This year, it's melting gradually. I don't think we're gonna have many problems this year. Most of the snowpack is already gone. We can get more snowstorms, yes, but I don't think it's likely. I see a little water there. Oh, yep. Oh, look what we got here. We got a lot of water coming down the drainage ditch. We're gonna pull up ahead to figure out where it's coming from in the first place, and then we have a pipe that looks maybe not blocked. It might be over capacity again. Because one side is high, but it was high enough for long enough that it froze. Did it just freeze the little layer, or is there a big thick layer under there? We're gonna have to look. So I don't think there's any problems down here. They just logged this area here last season, and everything you see growing back out there is there's a lot of berry bushes and birch. So we're turning around. We're just gonna get out for a split second. I'm not even gonna throw the jacket on this time. I just wanna have a look. Wrong pipe. Here we go. Right here. Put the strobes on, even though there's no one out here. Okay. So the ice is actually pretty thick here. I don't think this is just a day's worth. What do you think? Oh, yes it is. It looked a little thicker. So I just want to take a look at its capacity and figure out if we think it's clogged or not. How big is it? Holding on to this tree. Oh, that's a big one. Let's get the jacket on, get the rake. The water there is too deep, even if we had the big high boots. So we're gonna see if we can poke it with a rake. It might be clogged on the end. If it's clogged internally, collapsed, or frost heaved, yeah, that should be able to handle a lot more water. I expected like an 18-inch pipe. That's looks like at least 2 feet. Okay, so I'm gonna figure out where it even is. If it's clogged internally, it's not going to be creating enough suction to even figure out where the pipe is. Okay. Okay, that's also a big possibility. The pipe could be clogged with river ice, because that's what we got right here. Or is that a rock? No, that's a rock. But is it in the pipe? Oh, wait. I actually see the pipe right here. You can even see it. You see the ribs? Look at that. The pipe is actually right there. It's a big one. Is it slippery? Yeah, a little bit. And it's completely clear. It's got an internal blockage of some sort. I'm guessing it's probably collapsed in the road. Because those plastic ones, especially with that much pressure, I think it's probably collapsed in the road, or a frost heave found it easier to compress into that instead of up into the road. Yep. Well, we figured that one out, so we can hang up some blue ribbons telling road crews there's a problem, and then we don't have to touch it again in the spring. The wind chill today is a killer. When I first got this truck, I was like, I'm never gonna use this stupid stuff, but this heated steering wheel is actually awesome when I keep having to get in and out of this really cold weather. So we put up couple of blue ribbons here that'll show the road crews there's a water problem. So blue ribbon means any kind of water issue. It could mean water is crossing here. It could mean the culvert has a clog. It could mean the culvert is collapsed. It can also mean that there's a beaver problem. It doesn't specifically mean beaver problem, but the trapper who goes around and takes care of the beavers will often look for the blue ribbon. And so will hunters if they know that knowledge. So, we're off to try to find more. The cold weather is going to come as a welcome surprise for the logging company. They want to get all these heavy logs out of here to the sawmill. This week, these roads have been soft, muddy, but now this colder weather is making everything harden. We had above normal temperatures this week, but typically this time of year, they will have night shifts for truckers only when the roads are more solid. Not during the muddy days, but after the roads quickly harden up at night. And here we have a whole nother load of logs just waiting to be picked up once the roads are in good shape. Ooh, frost heave. Another one. That one I think's a culvert pipe though. Look at all these big logs. Look at that. You see these giant logs here getting ready to be picked up, and then you see these logs all over the side of the road, like that one right there. It's only like 8 feet long. They're tiny, the ones that are actually falling out. And here we got a whole bunch of potholes. Right here we have ribbons. Someone else marked an issue. Or I don't think they're marking an issue. No, that is marking a place that's going to get cut down. Yep, from those ribbons to this ribbon right here. Those ribbons go all the way up the hill, all the way through the woods. They're going to cut down that area. Who knows what they're going to cut down in the back? That might just be their point of access. All right, now this marker up here, see how it's slanted? Now this is gonna be some kind of hazard. Right here we have sunken culverts, frost heaves. What's this one marking though? Is it just marking a massive hole? Yep. This just marking, I think it's for all these right here. Yep, it's so abrupt that when the trucks hit that, logs are gonna fall off. I guess they see the ribbon and they know ahead of time we gotta slow down because I don't see any logs here. We're getting into another snowy area. It's last night, I guess, was very elevation concerned. Every time we drive up a hill, even if it's only 100 feet in elevation, it's snowy like this. But you saw there was really nothing back there. I backed up a little to show you this, but don't you think this sign should have been a little more in advance for a tractor trailer that can't stop fast? Bump. Well, the bump is this right here. And look at all the logs they lost. I think those signs should have been at least 100 feet in either direction, right? All right, going over another bridge. This one's also flooding, but no river ice. I'll give you a close look. See, no river ice, but it's still flooding the banks from earlier this week. This is what we call an off-road rumble strip. Listen to this. Running it over. You got the excavator tracks right here, tearing up the road as they move down here to the next site. Look at all those tiny logs right there. Those are the type that are falling off the trucks. Those big ones, we never see those falling off the trucks. Like, look at that. What are they gonna make with that one over there? It was 4 feet long. Yeah, it's all pulpwood. It's not lumber. Any little piece can be turned into pulpwood, but usually they don't carry things that small out. I remember when I was a little kid, I used to always beg my grandparents to run over the rumble strip because it was fun as a little kid on the highway. My grandfather would have to look around, make sure there's no one around because, oh, they're going to think I'm drunk if I keep running this thing over. But this one actually is not as abrupt because I don't think the ground is completely frozen since yesterday. But the road is actually in fairly good shape. You see, that's why there's logs everywhere. You see this? I'm now getting myself up there to 45 miles an hour. And then out of nowhere, especially the big trucks, they can't stop in time and then they lose a few logs. Well, the snow on my hood is finally starting to melt, but the temperature hasn't budged. It's just the strong sun angle. Look at the size of this pile. That's towering over. Now that first pile, that's gonna be lumber. That's white pine. This right here is pulpwood. That's mostly balsam fir, what you're seeing there. So that's gonna be your paper products, toilet paper, press board, chipboard, and it could be made into a abundant amount of stuff. Right there we have more white pine. I see some hardwoods mixed in. They pile it all differently for different purposes. See those? Look how small those logs are. That's going to be your paper products. That's the machine that made a bunch of these rumble strips for us. So I guess it wasn't an excavator this time. For anyone who wonders, every tree you see here cut down, this was planted by the logging company about 40 years back. This is a crop. This is a tree farm. It is planted specifically so you can have a clean behind. All right, we got some water crossing right here. Yeah, I see the end of the culvert. Zero's coming out of it. That thing is probably a plastic pipe, completely crushed. I only put one little ribbon so the guy who's gonna fix it knows about it. This isn't exactly a safety issue. It hasn't eroded down to a deep rut or anything yet. So I'm just marking it a little bit. Not necessarily a safety concern, although it could become one if it floods more. It's not at the moment. I'm sure we'll have bigger issues to attend to later today. What do we got here? A couple crows just flew away. You can see them up there in the trees to the right-hand side. Over on the left, we have a dead coyote. It looks like some fresh meat they're getting there. I wonder how the coyote got hit. Out in a remote spot like this, you don't usually see roadkill. Look, there we got a log on the side of the road. It starts up right again as soon as I'm done playing a little game. I just made a little vlog video, a game. How many logs are we going to spot in the next 10 minutes? We didn't spot a single one because we were specifically looking for them. Now this section of road here is getting bad again. Look at this frost heaving. One. And these aren't culverts, these are just frost heaves. Boom. Here's another big one. Boom. Very active groundwater in this section. Another one. Boom. Another one. Oh, that was a bad one there. I also see some holes starting to open up from rocks getting pushed out during the frost heavings and then receding, leaving holes. Here's another one. That'd be a fun section on a muddy day. I see more of them coming. Whoop. Boom, boom, boom. High water table. Just look at the drainage ditches. There's a ribbon over there. Maybe it's for the water, maybe it's for the road hazards. I think it's for the road hazards just based on its color. But sometimes you gotta use whatever tape you got to mark things. So sometimes it doesn't mean anything. Like today, I got blue tape on me and I got yellow tape. That's what I'm carrying today. They both mean different things. Usually. Wow, there's some mud starting to open up here. It didn't really freeze that much last night. Right here on the left, you see the water building up. That's been clogged for as long as I can remember. I remember attempting to unclog it. It's a pretty big 2-foot plastic pipe. It's got a little bit of water pouring out of it that I can see. It should be a lot more coming out of it, but it's got an internal blockage that no one's ever wanted to fix, and you see most of the water's actually trickling down the road to the next pipe. It's been like that for at least 4 years. No one's touching it. Here's a pipe that we've unclogged in the summer months. But these beavers were relocated and they don't seem to be another problem yet. This was flooding over. This is where that water is being diverted to. Everything looks fine. Secondary flow pipe isn't even needed. Okay, we're putting up a few ribbons here. It's not really that big of a concern. You see, it's not really damaging the road yet. It's only eroded through the snowpack. It's not really that abrupt. I could actually barely feel that. Especially their larger trucks. They're not even gonna feel that little bump there. My truck is covered in muddy icicles today. And every single time I turn the wheel really hard, I can hear them breaking off. Alright, we gotta get at it again and put up a few ribbons here. There's definitely a culvert pipe here that's not functioning. We're driving through another logging site. Mostly balsam fir. I see some birch. That big pile there to the left, that's all cedar. If it was warmer out, I bet that would smell amazing. What do we got here? It looks like a massive cedar harvest going on. This is not cedar though. On the right, yeah, that's cedar on the right. And the left, yeah, it's mixed. It's mixed in with some other stuff. That's a ton of cedar. Cedar smells really good. That's all cedar on the left. Doing a cedar harvest. It looks like they're doing selective harvesting. They're not cutting everything down. I got warning signs of active logging, but it's a Sunday. No one's out here. I probably should have just let the camera roll because we're only 10 seconds down the road. I'm noticing this right here. You see how there's a lot of erosion here. Trucks driving through it made this hole worse and worse. So you can see the erosion on the left side of where there was tons of water going through. Well, they're working here, so they were quick to get on this one. The culvert is now reopened. Or maybe it was frozen and it just melted itself out. But there's a plastic culvert very deep under here that seems to be working just fine at the moment. Over on the right, look at all that erosion damage. But yet the snow is intact in the drainage ditch. All this water, look at that. Some spots there's a drop over 2 feet. It's unable to get down the drainage ditch because something's blocking it. Typically the grader over the years will make kind of like a curb, preventing the water from getting where it's supposed to be. Like right now it's fine, it's in the ditch. Or the ditch has just been slowly filled in by the grader and it had to use the road because there's not enough space. That's actually a very, very easy fix once the road is thawed. But that's a hazard if you don't see it and fall into it. Oh, there's another culvert. So that's what happened. That culvert is extremely undersized. It couldn't handle the stream, so the whole stream went down the road, unable to fit in the drainage ditch. That's what happened there. The roads are starting to mush up already. It's not even noon yet. Temperatures are rising, but only slightly. It's 24 degrees. Right here, we're about to ride over a culvert pipe, which is just too small to handle it. It's flowing perfectly. And now we got a bunch of water crossing. This is usually by design. If it can't handle it or if it gets clogged, they want it to flood down the road rather than eroding the pipe, which makes it more expensive and timely to replace. Now, all they got to do is either wait for the capacity to go down, it might be fine, or just a simple load of gravel will fix that. Here's another really big pipe. That's like the one we showed earlier. It can't possibly get to capacity the way it's installed, and that's also helping. That's what's also going across the road there too. So this is actually one of the best spring thaws I've ever seen for, there's really not much damage. This is actually better than usual. It could still happen. We still have a lot of spring thaw almost 2 months left of it. Could still happen, but typically this is the time. We're not seeing much damage this year. Unusually mild or unusual conditions. Usually you experience a lot worse during the spring thaw than what we are seeing today. It's a gentle spring thaw, I guess you could say. Everything seems to be melting relatively slow. Okay, it's that time of day. The roads are starting to get so muddy. This kind of mud is as slippery as ice. Ooh, whoa, 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 whoa. 4-wheel drive the rest of the day, I guess. Okay, 4-wheel drive now. Give us a little bit more stability. Going over a big bridge. The water is still frozen for the most part. Okay, going over. Yeah, it's only thawed next to the bridge because there's movement here. The rest of the body of water is completely frozen over. Such a beautiful sight. I can even see the outlines of snowmobiles that went underneath here. But those must be a while ago. I would never trust walking on that now. This truck does good out here, especially as far as clearance. It's got skid plates and a winch, but in this scenario here, clearance isn't an issue. My old vehicle actually did better because it was all-wheel drive. So 4-wheel drive means all the wheels are moving at the same speed. All-wheel drive means the computer in the car can put uneven power to different wheels to compensate for the road's conditions. So for example, where I'm driving right now, if one side of the road is slipperier than the other, the wheels are all moving the same speed and you can feel little tugs here and there. But an all-wheel drive vehicle would be able to compensate for that. So that's one benefit to that sort of system. And I never had anything wrong with it. My old car is up to 370,000 miles. It still shifts, the automatic transmission, everything works perfect. All I've had to replace is wheel bearings, and the struts didn't even go bad. It was the strut mounts that broke. Yeah, these naturally aspirated Toyotas will go forever. Unfortunately, they don't even make the engine in this truck anymore. So, gonna have to treat it right. Try to get it to last also to 400,000 miles. I honestly probably would have bought the V8 Tundra, but at the time, they had stopped making it, and the new ones are turbocharged, and they're already having issues, and they've only been out a few years. They make garbage now. These days, I hear auto manufacturers literally bragging about how their vehicles can reach 150,000 miles. Wow. I always hear people talking about how their transmissions are going out at like 100,000 miles, and for some reason they think that's good. Well, the only type of vehicles I would ever buy are ones that are known to get to 300,000-400,000 without a single issue. And these older cars used to do that perfectly. These newer ones, they build them like absolute garbage, but yet people keep on buying them, so we gotta just deal with more and more garbage because stupid people keep on buying them. I don't trust these new vehicles, especially in these type of scenarios. We're on roads. We might not see a person for days. Can't be having any sort of breakdown that we can't fix out here on site. What do we got here? Somebody marked this. Must be a really bad one. Yep. It is a plastic. No, it's not. It's not a plastic pipe. It's a good metal one. I guess they just didn't compact it right. Left a big hole, and I'm about to have to get out. This mud spraying up, it's melting, right? But as it's spraying up into my undercarriage, it's hardening. And every time I hit a big bump, I can hear the wheel bang against ice. My wheel wells are filling with ice. I'm gonna have to get out and bang some of that out pretty soon. It's getting bad because we're still below freezing by a lot, and just building up massive amounts of ice underneath. probably hundreds of pounds of it. We're spraying and it's freezing. So basically every time I turn my wheel, see, we're supposed to have this much wheel clearance. Now we only have this. Every time I turn the wheel, it grinds that. Every time I hit a big bump, it slams into that. It makes a loud noise. I'm just worried it's gonna break the plastic wheel well, so we gotta sometimes hammer that out. We've got another issue here, water crossing. It just looks like the ditch isn't dug out enough. There's no pipe right here, and right here more frost heave cracking down the road. To be honest, another 20 minutes, all that ice is going to be right back there again. And that ice is containing a lot of mud, so it's more structural than just ice. Ooh. I hear more of it. As I turn the wheel hard, you can feel it. Yeah, listen. Yeah, I obviously missed some. Hear that? I clearly missed it somewhere. I'll have to get out again. It's always interesting to see what others are marking. What do we got here? Yep, that definitely should be marked. Look at this. Kaboom. Kaboom. What do we got up here now that somebody had the need to mark? Is that a culvert? Yes, it is. It's not compacted properly, so it causes that. Look at that, somebody has marked a road geyser. It's actually a broken metal pipe. Over there we got a tire cutter, see it? Another frost heave crack. Right here you can see big trucks were driving through water for a while. I'm guessing it was a frozen culvert or an overcapacity culvert because it's no longer happening. But look at the left side. Completely eroded the snowbank, the amount of water going through here. Look at that. Got a sinkhole opening up right there. And it's not a culvert. Probably a big rock got pushed up and has now receded back down. I think I kind of had to get out and show this one. Look at that sinkhole. That's a really good example. A rock got shoved up. It got eroded, all the soil underneath it, and when the ice melted, the rock receded back down, making a big hole. That can easily be fixed by the grader in the spring. But it's quite the hazard if you don't see it. Pretty big. There's a moose in the road. This area got a bit more snow. How's the logging bridge doing that we camped underneath 2 winters ago? Is it gonna have ice everywhere? Let's find out. They did a little bit of trimming. There's a couple of icebergs floating by, but almost no ice like last time, or that other river I should say. It's running very high. Well, I guess this is a good spot to pull over and have lunch. Our parking space is not plowed out. That's like a primitive boat ramp that you can actually drive down to if it was summer. Hear all that noise? We have full wheel wells still. Hopefully. Yeah, that sounds like it's breaking it out without causing damage. Oh yeah, that's good. Breaking all out of there. Last winter I left a time-lapse camera here to get the ice breaking. It came out decent. Right here we have a bunch of erosion, but the road is very rocky. Didn't cause too much damage. We got a culvert here. It's gushing out one end. I don't think it's clogged, but I kind of want to get out and just have a look. So definitely during the heavy spring thaw, it was going over there. Probably coming back around to meet back up with the stream. Got a bunch of erosion right here. Okay, there are 2 metal pipes. This one's crushed by an excavator. You see it just pushed in right there. But the other one is looks like a 2-footer, maybe 2.5 feet. Pretty large. The water looks like dark pea because these streams in this area have a lot of beaver ponds, which are constructed out of wood, and wood makes water turn that orangey or brownish color. And what happens is it sits there all year. Then when you get a storm or the spring thaw, it flushes out all the beaver ponds and the water looks disgusting. Over here on the other end, they're not clogged. Well, actually that one's a little bit clogged, but can't really do much about it. There's a lot of excavator damage in there too. They'll fix it, but we're gonna mark it. You can see down there over the winter freeze and overnight freeze. I like seeing the double ice lines. We're seeing that everywhere today. It's not actually that common because we finally got the right weather to see that type of event. And there's another log that fell out of a truck. All right, put up a few blue ribbons just in case this issue is not apparent when they're fixing the road. It should be. I just had to stop here and show this big gush coming out of the culvert. You see that pile of debris right there? I'm imagining that was stuck in the pipe. And when they excavated it, they dumped it on the opposite side so it couldn't cause any more issues. People always ask me when I unclog pipes, why do we just send it through the pipe? Because this is the middle of the wilderness. The chance of it getting down to another issue is very unlikely. It's gonna get stuck somewhere. It's waterlogged. It's gonna get stuck in the numerous beaver ponds that exist along these. A lot of times when the water is discolored like this, it's because there's beaver ponds that it's coming from. It's just giving a big flush. Look at that gush. This is a massive metal culvert pipe. And look at that, that fell out of a log truck. I want to push that in so bad, but I don't want to risk falling in myself. How close to that can I get? Okay, my hand's on the ground. Yeah, that thing is too heavy. I don't have a chance of moving that. But I tried. The other side looks extra orange. And that's so cool. Look at all the trees just held down by the heavy wet snow and just still draped. Look at that. Looks like pea. I just pulled over into a sketchy shoulder, but I shouldn't have a problem getting out. More road cracks. They recently cut all this down. They did a brand new drainage ditch. It looks like they even raised the road a little bit. Beavers have been notorious for causing issues in this exact spot. On my way out here, this is actually what I was coming to see, and I missed it. I must have got distracted when I was showing that. Probably 10 minutes back in the video. So this swamp was a major headache for over 2 years. Constant beaver issues. Just want to take a look at the pipe. We've made videos here, including that popular video, unclogging a culvert while angry beaver watches. It was splashing its tail, giving us angry warnings, but it never came over. There's a grate here somewhere, unless they buried it somehow with the grader. Here's the grate. They're not even using it. It's up on here. Is it frozen in the ground? I don't think we could get it in there. Maybe we could. It's wide open. It's working fine. So here's the thing, and it's been like this for years. There's really, yeah, that's frozen. But there's no beavers. These grates are only so the beavers can't make a dam in the middle of the pipe where it's nearly impossible to get rid of it. So this pipe goes up to a little hump, it then goes down. It's been like that for years. It's not really getting any worse. You see how little's coming out of it for the whole end being submerged? Yeah, the pipe just wasn't put in right. It wasn't compacted correctly. Or maybe they did a great job and the frost heave caused it. Really no way of knowing. There's some angry squirrels that aren't used to seeing humans out there here making all those squeaking sounds. They're mad. The logging company's never gonna learn on this one, are they? You see how there's ribbons here? If we get another flood like we did last spring, it's gonna happen again. They have like a 8-foot culvert here. The entire bottom of the pipe has been completely rusted out as long as I can remember. It creates sinkholes almost yearly. They just fill in the hole and it just keeps opening up again and again. It's such a hazard. I don't even like driving over this one. Horrible. I think that these giant cracks in the road are just so cool. Look at this. Look at this big old crack. Look at it go. Look at it go. This one's wide. This is the widest one so far of the day. Look at that thing. It's huge. Big old frost heave crack. And now we got another frost heave crack forming on the side. We got 2 of them now at once. Look at that. Ah, the big one ended. That's pretty cool. Massive frost heave cracking. Biggest one of the day. It ends, but look, it starts right back up. They're everywhere. They're everywhere today, these cracks. It looks cool. It looks like a big earthquake just came through here. All right, we had this same incident last year. The left side of the road is a pretty deep gully in the woods, completely flooded out right into the road. It was definitely crossing over. It has receded slightly. Look at this. Look at all this water. It's driving through it. Oh, that is so cool. I just made all the icebergs start moving. That was fun. I could hear it banging against the skid plates. So yeah, we walked down here last year. There's a culvert down here. It's just completely inoperable. Yeah, I'm gonna bring you down and I'll show you again. I don't think we're really blocking anything. No one's really coming down here now. But look at all this water. You can see where it was gushing through the snowbank during the spring thaw a couple days ago. Now it's cold again. So basically, you can see where the water is supposed to be coming out. There's a great big culvert right here opening up. Let's see if I want to get down here or not. The snow, oh! It's not as packed as I thought. Oop, sinking. Sinking a bit. That's where the pipe comes out. Lots of erosion from it pouring down overhead. Look at the strange color of the water. Don't drive through things like this if you have the plastic skid plates. It'll rip it right off. It'll also tear rubber boots around CV joints and stuff if you drive through this at a high rate of speed. This is a very, very bad one. Somebody else has marked it and even marked it in advance. It's a bad one. I think there's a culvert under there just because of how it's shaped. Could be wrong though. This is an unusual place to have a flood. I'd seen it flood here a couple of years ago, but not a typical spot. Alright, it's a pretty bad area. I just drove through some of this and here's more of it. The ruts are just gonna kind of pull me into a certain route. I'm not in four-wheel drive, I'm not struggling yet, so I'm not afraid of it. The ruts are still frozen. That's why it's dragging me and I'm not really making any new ones. I didn't bottom out or anything, but here's more of it. This is what the roads all used to be like 5 years ago after the spring thaw. They've done a lot of rebuilding, drainage ditches, making these more gravel than mud. Wow, look at this. This goes as far as the eye can see now. These are some deep ruts, but nothing concerning yet. They're frozen, so it's difficult to even steer out of these at this point. Ooh, these ones are a little deep. We slightly grazed the undercarriage. Okay, this is getting a little scarier now. We're gonna stop. I'm gonna use four-wheel drive as a precaution. I want to try to not go into that deep one. Let's try to switch over a little. Good. Okay, I had the clearance for most of that. Pretty good. Yeah, we made it. Shut the four-wheel drive off. We're good. Alright everyone, we're at this area. I've always wanted to see it with fairly high flow. This is the most flow I've ever seen. Can't imagine how much there would have been earlier this week. Look at all that flow. This is the kind of pipe that would probably be quite fun to go through it like in an inner tube. I'm amazed there's nothing stuck against it. We come out here a lot in the spring and we'll find a log across it. We'll get down there, straighten it out, and send it right through. It's so much fun. But that's when the water is barely flowing. This, you can't get down there. That would take you away. All right, we're gonna cross the road. There's more culverts down there associated with the same body of water. These are the biggest aluminum culverts I know of. They're huge. They will never rust. Yeah, that probably would be a lot of fun on a tube there. In the summertime, when the water's not that high, that's actually falling quite far. I hope it gets a little warmer because the clearance in my wheel wells is quickly disappearing and I can't do anything about it. It's hardening like concrete. There's gravel mixed into it, sand. I can't kick it out anymore. All right, everyone, it's gonna be dark soon. Those sideways logs there are maple and birch. All the rest of them here looks like white pine. So this will probably be going to a lumber mill, these bigger logs. That's gonna be lumber. It all looks like white pine except the slanted ones. Those are maple. Smells really strong like a lumber yard. Actually, there's maple in the bottom there. It's kind of a mix. The beginning of the pile had a lot of white pine. But this end of it, none. It's weird how they stack that. Usually they'd really separate that out. So this is my best judgment. I have never had my wheel wells ice up this bad before. Especially not on this vehicle. So it's just repetitive. I found a few more small sinkholes, dozens more of little water crossings. It's not really exciting. There's not really anything we can do about frozen pipes. So tomorrow is going to be even colder, so this issue with the freezing up is only going to be worse. I'm going to leave and we're going to come back in like 3 days to the area. There's just no point in staying out here tomorrow because I don't see any changes or improvements in the weather. But the end of the week, every single day for the high is about 40 degrees or 5 degrees Celsius. And at night it will be below freezing, but I don't care. I love that for sleeping. I like it cold. Even last night I was sweating before I got in the sleeping bag. Or I couldn't even use a sleeping bag because I was sweating. But when I did wake up nicely. It was cold getting out, but the sleeping bag was nice. Yeah, I think we're gonna wait. We're gonna come back out at the end of the week. We'll be a little bit better prepared. I'll have things put together a little more. We'll bring a lot more marking ribbon, and we'll try venturing down to some of the dangerous roads that people aren't driving down yet. Because the way it is right now, where I think we're a little too early. We'll be back out here in a few days. But I hope today's video of exploring these roads was exciting. Thanks for watching, everyone, and have a great day.